What a fantastic game of football from the Emirates Stadium. The North London derby is always an exciting match. It's one of the few that actually lives up to the hype a lot of the time. And today certainly did. High energy, a lot of chances, not so many goals, but still 3 goals, so you can't complain. But I think that this game meant a lot to Arsenal in particular. You felt after losing to Manchester United with 10 men in the Cup a couple of days ago, there was a lot of pressure on Arteta. You started to see the circles online, the old AFTV boys, troops, etc. Arteta out, you're hearing that message. And it's the first time we've heard this type of negativity around Arsenal for a little while. Today, I think they calmed those shouts a little bit, although many of the issues that have been present all season are still very much there. The lack of clinical ability within that team is pretty crazy, really. Even the goals that they scored, obviously a Gabriel header from the corner, but that was a deflection that went in off of Solanke. And then the Trossard goal, which I heard the commentators speaking about, well, maybe the keeper could have done better, etc. He did get a hand to it, but it was also a great finish from an angle in which Trossard shouldn't have been allowed to shoot. But it still just feels like Arsenal are missing the out-and-out number 9 or the out-and-out goal scorer. The question is that Arteta's fault? They've spent a lot of money. Is it more down to the recruitment team? But let's speak about that a little bit more at the end of the video. If you're a big football fan, please do remember to hit like and subscribe. But into today's game, both teams have got a lot of players missing, a lot of injuries. That Spurs defence is absolutely shell-shocked. Jed Spence got sent back from Leeds United last season because of attitude problems and because he wasn't good enough in the Championship. Mainly attitude problems, I believe, especially given the performances he's been putting in for the last few weeks. Him starting in the North London derby is mental. Archie Gray, a usual central midfielder, starting at centre-back for multiple games in a row, including this, arguably Tottenham's biggest game of the season. He had a fantastic game as well. If anything, I would actually say that those 2 youngsters for Spurs and Bergvall in centre midfield were the best players today. They showed the most passion and they were actually the calmest on the ball in some of those scarier moments. I thought the goalkeeper, he's looked fantastic in the last couple of games. Today was his Premier League debut. Imagine playing for Tottenham and it's your Premier League debut against an Arsenal who are there to prove a point. He had a few scary moments, got caught on the ball a couple of times, and obviously, as I just mentioned, maybe could have done a little bit better with that Trossard shot. But I thought overall, he was pretty decent. It's just a strange Tottenham lineup. I don't know what to expect. The only players that I think will produce much in there is Kulusevski, who looks fantastic most of the time, didn't do too much today, and Solanke, same rhetoric. But then you look at Arsenal, even the players that they've brought in, obviously Saka's out injured. Sterling, Arsenal fans, what do you think about Sterling? Let me know in the comments, because I think that he offers a whole lot of nothing. And the crowd seemed to agree with me today. People getting on his back a little bit when he was on the ball, always just looking for the safe pass, never really took a man on, never really tried to progress the ball. And I think it's a real shame because throughout the years at Liverpool and Manchester City, Sterling became one of the more exciting players in the Premier League, but now he just looks like a massive waste of wages for Arsenal. He's one of those, maybe he could find form again at some point. I feel a move abroad. We've seen a lot of English players that have tethered out a bit in the Premier League go abroad. Chris Smalling, obviously, what's he called? He's not English, he's Scottish. The McTominay going to Napoli, having a killer season. But these players that maybe are a little bit disrespected in the Premier League can get a move abroad and do quite well. So I think that is what Sterling should look at come the end of the season, personally, unless he has a storming second half of the season, which I highly doubt we'll see. And then Trossard, okay today. Havertz in the second half had a few chances that he should have done much better with. A headed chance from a corner and then a headed chance from a cross, both of which were pretty much straight at the keeper. He needs to be doing better with opportunities like that. And I think the tide has really turned in terms of Arsenal fans' judgment of Havertz. It doesn't feel like too long ago they were saying, oh, actually, this man could be the answer. And now I think all the Chelsea fans are really enjoying this moment, saying, well, he has a couple of good games, everyone gets hyped, and then it dies back down. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon too much yet. I don't think that he's clinical enough to be leading the line for a team that wants to be challenging for trophies. but he's okay. He's a decent squad player. For the price tag, I shouldn't be saying that, but he is okay. Who Arsenal can get up front, I saw links to Vlahovic earlier in the week. I think he's still scored less than 10 goals in the Serie A this season so far for Juventus, which wouldn't fill me with hope if I was an Arsenal fan. I don't think that is the answer. The issue is there's a massive gulf in number 9s, straight out strikers in the world of football at the minute. Who would you think? Maybe Watkins, but he's missed the most big chances this season. And then you look at Isaac, Newcastle had Commander, unbelievable fee for him. You're certainly not going to get him in a January transfer window, and I don't think they'll even fork out for him in the summer. I heard Rio Ferdinand pre-match should suggest that Arsenal should go and get Karim Benzema on loan for the second half of the season, which is one of the stupidest suggestions I've heard in a long time. And I do want to talk about Rio for a second, because I think his commentary, especially in the first half, was atrocious during this game. He was just coming in with random pointless one-liners, but the most pointless one was that Benzema shout before the game kicked off, because Benzema's 37 years old, and let me just pull up the stat because I was genuinely intrigued. He's earning £3.8 million a week in Saudi Arabia, tax-free. In what world is he going to come to Arsenal on loan, Rio? Why would that happen? And also, with Arsenal's recruitment strategy and what they've done over the course of the last few years, they're not going to sign a 37-year-old striker who's been playing in the Saudi Arabian league for multiple seasons. You can see that one got me passionate. I couldn't help but get angry there. My apologies. But Arsenal now 4 points off Liverpool, who still sit atop of the league with a game in hand over Arsenal. I don't think it's going to happen. But maybe this Liverpool run can't last forever. All it takes is Salah to drop off for a few games, Diaz to drop off for a few games. 4 points isn't impossible to make up with how many games are left. And I suppose all it takes is one win against Liverpool and you've kind of done it right there. But I just think today's win, although it's a huge match, they're 20 points, 19, almost 20 points above Tottenham. So does it really mean all that much beating a team who are closer to relegation than the top of the league? It's a real tough spell for Spurs, but for Arsenal, it's like, well, you would kind of really hope you would win this match, especially with the state of Spurs' defence. I don't think that they're going to end up challenging for any trophy this season now. I think the Champions League is obviously out the window. Premier League, can they do it? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that 4 point gap and a game in hand is a realistic prospect? Should Arsenal fans be getting a little bit more excited now? Big win today. And then on to Spurs. Spoke a lot about Arsenal there. I don't think that Spurs actually played... They did let in a lot of chances, but it's that young element of the team that I really like. And I have a soft spot for Ange, but I must admit, at this point, if it was any other Premier League manager with the current run that they're on, only just scraping through against Tamworth in the FA Cup the other day, I know it was 3-0, but it took into extra time, there'd be big questions being asked. And should there be big questions being asked of Ange at this point? I think probably so, but as I say, while they've got as many injury issues as they have at the back, Vicario's out, Van der Ven's out, you can't really get rid of him until he's got his full team back. But then the majority of Premier League managers don't have the full team and you don't cut them that much slack. So it is a really difficult one with Tottenham. I obviously don't see them doing particularly well this season, and they will definitely massively underachieve in comparison to where the majority of fans would have hoped they'd finish at the start of this season. But they're in a tricky spot, and I think that they've clearly invested well in terms of youth. Jed Spence is a surprising one for me, but Archie Gray and Bergvall look like two unbelievable players, two players that I can see going to the very top of the game. It doesn't surprise me that there's rumours at the minute of Real Madrid being in for Archie Gray and keeping eyes on him, because I truly think he's a spectacular footballer and one that I would point out today. And Bergvall has looked great in the last few games, but another footballer who I wanted to point out from today is Gabriel. What an unreal performance. That was one of the best centre-back performances I've ever seen. In the first half, there was a moment where Jed Spence, fantastic run down the side, puts in a great ball to Solanke. Gabriel slides in and provides one of the best tackles I've seen in a long while in football. It wasn't just that, his all-round play today was great. And then, of course, he got his head on the ball, which led to the goal at the corner. I feel like he's Arsenal's saving grace at the minute. If Gabriel was to get injured, it'd be a big problem. And I'll be honest, I personally have maybe looked down upon Gabriel, insulted him a little bit in the past, but his recent performances, and especially today, have been fantastic. And there's starting to become an argument of him being a more impactful element in the team, especially going forward, than Saliba. Saliba was also fine today, but definitely a man of the match performance from Gabriel. And it's crazy to see, really, when a centre-back is just absolutely dominating the play like that. But anyway, that brings me to the end of my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the game. As I say, I'm really interested to know what people think in terms of the aspirations for the rest of Arsenal's season. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and also let me know if you think that maybe questions should start being asked of Ange Postecoglou. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the buttons. I'll catch you again soon. Peace.